My name is Denize Lace and I'm going to talk about the Wellbeing Project on the island of Hoy. The project began on 5 islands, Hoy being one of them, in 2019. And initially, Wellbeing Coordinators were employed via the Development Trust and funding by VAO to basically look at the gaps in services on the island. Hoy is a beautiful island and it's a lovely community. Obviously you've got Rackwick and then you go down and you've got South Walls. The population is, give or take a few, about 400 at the moment, and it is a beautiful, lovely community to live in. However, along with any community, there are people that struggle there. You know, it's not all roses. It can be harsh in the winter. You've got the added pressure that you can't just nip in the car and go to Tesco's. You have to go via the ferry. But I wouldn't change any of that because it is, you know, you've got your friends and neighbours at hand. And even though there might be the odd little sort of thing that goes on every now and again, when you need help, that community will be there to help you. One of the biggest things that we're missing was with our elderly population who had sort of mobility problems or struggled around the home with daily living tasks. If they needed equipment, they needed to go over to Kirkwall, to the Salbro Centre, to look at this equipment and see if they could get it. The only issue with that is it was only open on a Wednesday afternoon. And again, this is people with mobility issues who would then need to travel on the ferry and go to Kirkwall. I have a background in moving and handling, so I discussed my ideas with Salbro, and then I got the GP on Hoy involved, and we basically came up with this idea that we would open our own daily living aid centre based at the doctor's surgery. The GP and the nurse would do referrals to me for these people. I'd go around to their homes and take equipment to them, and then if I needed to refer them on, I would get in touch with Salbro, and it worked really well. And this was going along great guns until March 2020 when we had COVID impacted the island. COVID impacted the island in quite big ways because literally we couldn't leave the islands. Unless you were an essential worker, you couldn't leave the islands. So we struggled with, some families were struggling, some people were struggling. It wasn't easy to go to Tesco's and get food because we weren't allowed to travel. Even though we've got a very well stocked shop down in Hoy, it wasn't enough to feed families in fours, you know, big families with food and things. So I knew straight away that we needed to act and we needed to do something. So I approached the Development Trust who employ me, and I asked them if there's any way they could find funding so we could start helping the people in the community. Luckily, my line manager, Moira Corsa, she was able to get funding after filling loads of forms in, and I mean loads of forms, and we were able to set up the community larder. And basically, I put a shopping list together every other week. One week it would be dry stores, the following week it would be vegetables, the following week it would be meat and dairy. And I basically purchased all this food via our local shop. So they worked with me and they got all extra stock in. And then very sort of confidentially, people were able to apply to me to access this larder. And it was all done, you know, sort of undercover because people are entitled to their confidentiality. So that worked really well for a year, and there was plenty of food. The other thing that we noticed that was missing was people were struggling with their bills. You know, they were at home all the time, the children were off school, so their electricity bills were going up. Just everything was going up. So we were able to get a community fund. Again, Moira managed to get funding for that. So we could actually offer families cash in their bank account so they could pay for the extra costs and things. And again, that worked very successful. And we was really pleased with the way that went. And as we came out of COVID, and I noticed that there was a need for some support for people. So I set up the support and information hub. And basically people in private can come and see me, and I sit and go through all their issues. So if they've got financial problems, housing problems, social care problems, any problems whatsoever. They sit and talk it through for me. And if I need to refer them to other agencies, I do that. If they need help with the benefits, I can help them claim benefits. So basically, I'm there as a support network. And again, that's still up and running now. And I also do the same here in Stromness as well. So that's not just in Hoy, that's in Stromness as well. Obviously, all the clubs and things have been shut down, and felt this real need to get the community back together. So I had a couple of ideas. So one was the Barnacle Club. So I run a club on a Thursday afternoon, and we try and do something varied each Thursday. So one day it could be playing bingo. The next time it could be playing Scrabble. This week we've just done reading for wellbeing. So I wanted people to bring in books that they'd read and talk about it, and then we shared books. The last group that I set up in Hoy was the chair-based exercise group. We have immense fun at that. This is for all ages. Younger people are coming along now, and we basically do mad chair-based exercises to lots of funky music to help people with their flexibility, their balance, and basically just have good fun. And the nice thing about these groups is they don't pay for it. I've managed to get funding via VAO to run these groups. And I've also set up the anchor group in Stromness on a Wednesday afternoon, which is again for people who have anxieties and things. They can come along, they leave all their troubles at the door, and they basically come in, and we do different ideas each week. They come up with the ideas, what they want to do one week and then the next week, but they just have a good time. Because of the nature of the work that I do, especially with the one-to-one support, I hear some pretty bad things off people, some very sad stories of hardship and past abuse and things like that. And just knowing that you're a listening ear, because sometimes that's all it takes is somebody, these days in this world, everybody's always on the time. Oh, I've only got 10 minutes. Whereas I'm fortunate with the work I do. If I need to go and sit and have a cup of tea with somebody and sit and listen to them for 3 hours, that's what I do. They do have coordinators and things in cities, but I don't think you could do it to the extent that I do it out in Hoy, because people trust you. It's that trust. When they come and see you, they trust you. And that's why they speak to you. And I think with the cities, it would be more of a referral. People come in and you would refer them to all the other agencies. We can't do that here because we don't have all these agencies to refer them to, which is better, because people, like I say, they build up a rapport with you, they trust you, and you can work with them instead of saying, oh, well, sorry about your problem. Go and speak to this person or go and speak to that person. So it's all done in one. This winter for people is going to be horrendous. Both with my work as the Wellbeing Coordinator in Hoy and the Community Link Practitioner here at Stromness GP Surgery, I've already noticed a huge increase in anxieties in the people that I go to visit on a one-to-one to offer them support. Even though a lot of them now haven't put their heating on, they're not going to put their heating on. They're already struggling to cover the cost of food because the increase of food has gone up immensely. This is only going to get worse. It's starting to give me sleepless nights, actually, because normally I can refer them to places to get support, but that support is very limited at the moment. And it's not just the people that you normally think that struggle, about people on benefits, it's everybody, even people, working families with children that are just keeping their heads above the water. They're not keeping their heads above the water now. They are starting to sink. There is very little support out there at the moment for these people, and it gives me a great deal of concern. I'm hoping and praying that funding will become available like it did during COVID to support these people, so that again we can look at projects like we did during COVID about setting up community food lockers for people, for giving them cash. Some of these people have to be given cash. And it's as simple as that. I've heard lots of people, I attend lots of meetings and I hear lots of people say, you can't throw money at people. You have to throw money at these people. Vouchers are not going to pay their bills. Vouchers are not going to get food off the supermarket shelves. They have to have cash. So that is one battle I will be fighting, and it is going to be a hard winter for a lot of people. But I look forward to the challenge. I've become more understanding about people's situation, non-judgmental. You know, I get a great deal out of helping and supporting these people. It makes me feel as if I'm making a difference. And if it's making a difference to them, it makes a difference to me. And I love what I do.